Alright, chemistry. We have, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples to do here. I want to make sure these are solid, and then I'm going to go through the notes so you can just see peeking out right here. And then we'll talk about what I want to do in the next few days, because I know that end of the market period is coming up, but I still have a bunch of stuff that I want to get through, and I'm confident that we can do it. I think that we can get through it. I think that you guys can do it. So, yeah. Let's start talking. Let's figure this out. First, let's review balancing over here. So, what I have for the first one, right? If I make my separation here, it looks like I should, there we go. I count on the left, I have 2 N's and 2 H's, right? On the right, I have 1 N and I have 3 H's. That seems not great, not the best. So what I'm going to do, I know that I need to have the same amount on both sides, excuse me, and that I can only multiply. I can add a coefficient in the front that will multiply by everything in that compound. So, because my right side number of N's is smaller, number of nitrogen smaller, I'm going to add a 2 right here. And by doing that, I actually change... Hello? Oh. Hang on, I know what's wrong. I actually okay, I don't know what's wrong. There we go, sorry. By doing that, I actually changed the number of nitrogens that's represented into 2. The thing to remember is that this 2 distributes to nitrogen and to hydrogen, so it's not just 3 H's anymore. It's actually 6. So I've actually solved my nitrogen problem. But now I have a small hydrogen problem, right? I have 2 H's on the left, and I have 6 H's on the right. So now my left side is missing some. I need to find a number. I need to multiply 2 times something to get 6. All right, so if I make this a 3, then I have changed this to be 6 H's, and now I have the same number of H's on both sides. So now my equation is balanced. I can leave the first blank empty, or I can put a 1 there. If I leave it empty, it's assumed that a 1 goes there. All right? Now I'll do the same thing here. There's a lot more going on. I have 3 NAs, I have 1 P, I have 5 oxygens. Counting is hard. I have 5 oxygens. I have 1 potassium. I have 1 hydrogen. All right, I'll try to list them out in the same order over here. I have 1 sodium. I have 1 potassium. I have, again, 5 oxygens. I have 3 potassium. Oh, sorry, this was phosphorus. I have 1 phosphorus, 5 oxygen, 3 potassium, and 1 hydrogen. Okay. Now, there's something that I did not mention before that I feel like I need to mention now because it will help you. Right? So a little like asterisk. When you have O and H, save them for last, right? You can ignore them. Ignore them until things are over, until everything else is done, and then go back and look at them. The reason I say that is because a lot of times oxygen and hydrogen will work themselves out, because by balancing everything else, you will probably balance oxygen and hydrogen. So let's address sodium first, Na. I need a 3 here, and that will mean that I have 3 sodiums. Now, there is also an oxygen and a hydrogen, right, in this compound. But I just said, save them for last, ignore them. So I'm not even going to bother counting them again until later. But I know that I fixed my sodium problem. We're good. phosphorus, P, is already good on both sides. We're done there. Now oxygen, I'm actually going to go ahead and do so much ignoring. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm not even going to consider it to be existing right now. Potassium, though, I can fix potassium. I can put a 3 here, and that means that I have 3 potassium. And now I have H, which again, I'll ignore it for a second. Let me make sure. Yep, potassium was good. Okay, now that everything else is good, now let's take a look at oxygen. So on this side I have 4 oxygens, and I have another 3 oxygen, so that's 7 oxygen. And I also have 3 hydrogen. Okay, so I have 3 oxygen and 4 oxygen, so that's 7 oxygen. And I have 3 hydrogen. And if you look at it, they are also all set. So by balancing everything else, I actually ended up balancing hydrogen and oxygen. Okay. Now, those were those two. Let's take a look at the ones at the bottom here. If I split this up, right, so there's my spot. I have 1 Al, I have 3 Br, I have 1 K, that's my left side, and I have 1 Al, I have 1 K, and I have 1 Br. Alright, so the 3 Br is something that I need to fix. Okay. So if I put a 3 here, that changes this to a 3, and that changes this to a 3. So now I need to fix this K. Now that's a 3, and that's a check, and a check. Everything's good. I'll do the same thing here with number 3. Let's make our separation. I have 4 P's, I have 2 BRs. My separation, I have 1 P, and I have 3 BRs. So first thing to fix is a phosphorus problem. If I put a 4 here, well, that fixes that. So check, check. But now that actually changes the number of bromine to 12, because now I need to take this 4 and distribute to everything for the Br. 4 times 3 is 12. So if I make this a 6, this becomes a 12. Check, check. For the very last one, 1 Pb, 2 Brs, 1 H, and 1 Cl. And I have 1 Pb, 1 Br, 1 H, and 2 Cl. So first thing it looks like I have to fix is bromine. If I put a 2 here, that fixes this. It also changes hydrogen. So now I need to fix hydrogen. So I'll put a 2 here. That changes that. It also changes chlorine. But if I look, that's already all set. So I have everything ready and done. Alright? Now notice, in number 5, I had only hydrogen, not both. Which is why I didn't hesitate to be like, okay, hydrogen is next on the list. It's only if you have both oxygen and hydrogen where I'd like hesitate a little bit, wait, save them for last. Now, as a little more practice, I'd actually like y'all to try the remaining odd numbers, 7, 9, 11, and 13, on page 30. This is actually going to be practice for an upcoming quiz, right? So next week, not this week, this is Thanksgiving week. Next week, I do want to have a quiz. And the quiz is going to be on... Sorry, my nose is all running. The quiz is going to be on balancing equations. Hello, focus, there we go. Balancing equations. And the types of reactions. There are 4 basic types of reactions that you will see. Synthesis is to take more than one element or more than one thing and combine them into a single thing. Now, there aren't any notes to fill in here, but there are some adjustments that I'd like you to make. I don't like this notation being C. I would actually prefer it to be compound AB. And the reason for that is because like A plus B turns into compound AB. Similarly, I like the decomposition to be compound AB splits up into A plus B. I think it's a visually a better representation. All right. Synthesis and decomposition are fairly straightforward. Single replacement and double replacement, if you could, and if you would, I would try to, oh my gosh. I don't know what happened here with my spelling, but I don't trust it. There we go, substitution. You might see single substitution and double substitution. They haven't used those terms for a little while, but they might. Right. Now, what you will see here for single replacement is that a single element will come in and kick out another element from a compound. So here, A kicks out B. B becomes a single element on its own. A and C are now a compound. It will always be element plus compound becomes element plus compound. Always. That's like the format of it, right? For double substitution, what you'll see is that two things in two separate compounds actually flip-flop. So here the second half, this B and D switch partners. All right, it's a double substitution because two things are changing. And this will always be compound plus compound forms compound plus compound. Biggest version or biggest thing that you might see, that you might run into, is just what type of reaction do you see, right? Now, take a couple seconds, I don't know, 30 seconds, a minute, minute and a half, whatever you need to. Try these 5 little practice questions at the bottom of the page on your own, and I'll check in with you in just a moment. Like, pause the video, try those. Okay. If I look at this is a compound and a compound, and then I have my arrow, and then compound and compound. So that is a double replacement. And the reason I know that is because if I look, these guys swap places. The endings swap places. All right. Number 2 is element and compound. Element and compound. I'm actually going to abbreviate here. That's a single replacement. In this case, the Cl kicks out the Br. Number 3 is element, compound, compound element. Still a single replacement. In this case, the zinc kicks out copper. Single replacement can kick out the first half or the second half, so just kind of be aware of that. Right? I have a single compound, and then I have multiple pieces. So this is a decomp. And alternatively, I have multiple pieces becoming a single thing. That's synthesis. Right? Now, I'm doing all this practice. I'm especially doing the practice with the balancing stuff because I think that's a little more difficult. But I want to do a quiz on balancing and types of equations towards the end of next week. So I'm thinking like F day. All right. The other things that I'm doing, there is a lab currently up on my CBA. It's lab page 9. It's on balancing equations and conservation of mass. The directions are in the description, so please read the description of the lab. I've got pictures and like how to kind of start that. You can do that whole thing on your own. Next week, what you'll see is that I'm actually going to start a lab on types of reactions in class. If we can't do it together, but I can definitely do stuff and show you. I'll walk around and I'll show y'all what is happening. So we'll start that lab Tuesday on E-Day. We'll start that lab on E-Day. You will have to do the questions as practice on your own. It'll also be decent practice to see how to balance and how to identify reactions for the quiz on F-Day, all right? So all this stuff is kind of starting to link up. Soon there will be a few more labs to go along with the topics, all right? Now, make sure to check the announcements on MyCBA, make sure to check the assignments on MyCBA, and please make sure to read the description, right? If you are confused, if you get lost on something, send me an email. I'll be happy to respond. I do my best to respond to stuff. I apologize if I don't. If you don't get a response from me within a day or two, send me another email or find me in class and make sure, hey, Mr. Clemmon, did you see what I sent you? Because there are a few times where I do genuinely miss them. I apologize for that. But if anything comes up, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you on E-Day. Take care, kids. Have a good Thanksgiving break. Be safe, and try to get some rest. Eat some good food. I'll see you again soon.